Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that has crowned its new champions. That's right, we're talking about the Challenge All-Stars Rivals, aka the Challenge All-Stars Season 5. And as mentioned, we have two new champions crowned. But before we can talk about the champions, let's start off where last episode left off, and that was after checkpoint 4, where everybody was able to arrange their campsite exactly to the preferences of TJ. And as it stood at the beginning of this episode, we have Devon and Shane with 13 stars, Adam and Steve with 10 stars, Melissa and Nicole in third place with 9 stars, and Frank and Sam in last place with 7 stars. Now, day 1 of the final took a lot out of all of the competitors, and TJ wants to fill them up with something nutritious and yummy. Now, to be advertiser friendly, I will refrain from saying the name of this checkpoint. I will just call it checkpoint 5, the trivia checkpoint. All the teams will have giant bowls of pho in front of them. TJ will ask each person a question. It will be like the Newlywed Game. If the player who was asked the question puts down the exact answer of their partner, they will not have to put something disgusting in their own food. Instead, they could sabotage anybody else that they want, putting either snails, worms, or these hot chili peppers in somebody else's pho. But if you get it wrong, you have to dump whatever disgusting stuff into your own pho. At the end, everybody will have to eat up, and the quickest team will get 4 stars. The next team will get 3, 2, and so on. There's really only 3 questions asked of the competitors. First one being, what is the middle name of your partner? Adam and Steve were the only team to get that wrong. The other 3 teams got to sabotage other people. Shane wanting to sabotage Nicole and Melissa, thinking that they were in second place when he got the math wrong, but Shane really hams this up, trying to get every last bit of snail into Nicole and Melissa's pho. So when it was their turn to present their answer, and lo and behold, they got it right, they returned the favor over to Shane and Devon. And then with Frank and Sam getting the question right, they choose to sabotage Shane and Devon as well. The next question was to spell the last name of your partner correct, which really came in handy for Frank and Sam, who's Frank's last name is Fox. The one team that got this question wrong was Melissa and Nicole, so when it came down to it, Adam and Steve decided to sabotage themselves, and then on top of that, Sam decides to sabotage Adam and Steve by putting even more peppers into their food. Nicole and Melissa got double dose of sabotage between themselves getting it wrong and then Shane and Devon adding in more. And then the final question was, if your partner and you can sabotage, eliminate, and save the teams who are left in this game, what would they do? And pretty much everybody but Frank and Sam get this wrong. So everybody has to sabotage themselves. Frank and Sam take their sabotage and give it to Devon and Shane. When we look at the final sabotage tally, Frank and Sam have 0 sabotages, while everybody else is dealing with 4. And I thought this is going to be the Sunday challenge all over again for Frank and Sam. They can get first place and 4 stars, but lo and behold, we find out some more Steve lore where he talked about dabbling in eating competitions. Steve just inhales it like nothing. Adam and Steve, even with 4 sabotages, get 4 stars and first place. Frank and Sam take second place with 3 stars. Devon and Shane get third with 2 stars, and Melissa and Nicole at least finish getting 1 star. So going into the overnight portion, we get the overall tally of Devon and Shane at least staying in first place with 15 stars, Adam and Steve having 14 stars, Frank and Sam with 10 stars, and Melissa and Nicole tied with them in third place with 10 stars. Now, I will say that there have been some talks about some unseen checkpoints happening that did not make the edit, and one of those checkpoints is a breeding portion that happened in the overnight segment in the Oasis, that it is rumored that Adam and Steve actually had a 1-star lead heading into the second day of the final and heading into the lagoon portion. If this is correct, I'm disappointed. I know every single season they film so much content. It's better to have too much content than not enough. And I completely understand that when it comes to like conversations in the house. I know that you can't show every single minute of every single day, but when it comes to the final and we're trying to tally up stars and try to figure out who has what and where are they, I want complete and utter transparency. When it comes to the final, this is the game. This is crowning a challenge champion. I would like there to be some effort where we can see as much as possible of the final. I just would rather see it. I don't care if it's boring. I had to endure the ATVs going off the cliff over and over and over again, you know? That was boring to me. But when it comes to the final, I want to be able to see every single step to know exactly who the challenge champions are, you know? I'm sure they got it right, but I would like to know for my own peace of mind. We'll put a pin in that as we go on to the next checkpoint in the morning called High Tide. The teams are going to have a small run to these boats that they're going to have to get into, row across the lagoon, and then have a small jog past a finish line. The first team to finish this race will get 4 stars, 3 stars, 2, and 1. This checkpoint was pretty simple, but I think pretty effective. This is a checkpoint that we find out that Sam and Steve have some injuries coming into the second day. With Steve, he heard a pop in his leg and he had pain, and you can see him slowing down and getting passed by other competitors. I was kind of worried for this, but then again, I was like, how physical are we gonna get during this day too? You know? Now with Sam, she says that she has hurt her knee when they finally get into the boats, through the lagoon, and then to the shore. Frank and Sam are able to get out of their boats, cross the finish line, and get first place. But Sam says that she needs something on her knee because she did something to it the day prior, and it's really, really hurting. Frank, who is a physical therapist and has a doctorate, has checked it out and said that there's nothing wrong with her knee. Now, is Frank biased in the sense that if something was really wrong with Sam's knee, would he be like, she can push through it, or would he be like, she needs to get out of here? You know, she needs to go get medical attention. Because Frank is tied with Sam in the sense that if she leaves, he is done. He cannot go any further. Now, I do think that there is something to what Frank says about mentally, that if something is just a little bit hurting, maybe you overinflate it because you're maybe possibly afraid or have this defeatist mindset. I don't know anything about knees. I don't know anything about Sam or Frank, but you could tell that this was the starting point of Frank possibly just bubbling over. Now, Frank and Sam were neck and neck with Adam and Steve the entire time, where Adam and Steve were very close and got second place. Melissa and Nicole got third place. And before you know it, Devon and Shane get fourth place. Checkpoint 7, called Shoulder the Load. Each team will have these staffs with these Vietnamese bowls on them. They're gonna have to fill the bowls up with water, walk a distance to a vial, and try to fill up your vial within the allotted time. This is a timed event, so you have to try to do this quickly, but also you just have to try to finish. So when I mentioned Frank and Sam and Frank having this like emotional bubble over, it happens here. Sam can't keep up with Frank. Frank is jogging, trying to push Sam to her breaking point, which it seems like he did, where Sam is saying that she's hit her limit. She's hit her limit. She's hit her limit. He thinks that she is holding herself back, and thus holding him back. They are unable to keep up a good enough pace to be able to finish, where Frank and Sam and Nicole and Melissa both get a DNF, a do not finish. Whereas on the opposite end, you have Devon and Shane and Adam and Steve neck and neck for first and second place. It comes down to the last trip for both of them. Devon and Shane put into another gear, walk fast, but not erratically to where all the water just falls out, and they are able to surpass Adam and Steve and get first place in this checkpoint. And with Devon and Shane able to get this 4-star performance locked in, heading into the final checkpoint, as the screen shows, it is tied for first place, 20 points apiece between Adam and Steve and Devon and Shane. Now, before we move on to the final checkpoint, we do have this moment between Frank and Sam where Frank is getting overwhelmed, trying to get Sam to understand and believe in herself, but also pick it up. We're in the final. You can't leave anything or make any excuses. Frank's tone is coming off pretty rude and aggressive. Steve goes and checks up on Frank, gets him to calm down. Devon checks up on Sam, Steve then goes and checks up on Sam, and then we have everybody load into the cars, getting taken to the temple checkpoint, the final checkpoint. I am so happy that there wasn't too much of the final left, because as we see, Sam having to be helped into the temple. Her knee was really hurting her, so it wasn't a good situation, but luckily there was no extra checkpoint. There was no race at the end. There was no like real physical push that you really needed to do at the very end of this final. And I will say that it's good for Frank and Sam that that wasn't the case, but at the same time, I thought that this was a really bad checkpoint, a really anticlimactic checkpoint to end the final on. I thought the final was going really well up to this point. This felt like they were stumbling over the ending, because in the final checkpoint, checkpoint 8, this was called Balance Them All. Competitors have to use 20 bags and put them on this giant teeter-totter scales thing. And then not only do you have to try to balance the bags, but then the competitors have to get on each side and try to balance themselves with the bags to get perfectly balanced. And you have to hit that red mark, ask for a check, and then boom, you lock in. And this is the final checkpoint. This will determine the winner, at least according to the edit. And I'll be for real, I think all finals need to end with some sort of crossing a finish line. I don't like this ending. Both Devon and Shane and Adam and Steve asked for a check at the exact same time, and we don't know as an audience, they don't know as competitors, they just get the horn and they kind of just go with it, you know? I felt like this was anticlimactic. I didn't like that this was the finale, that how ambiguous this is. Like, I understand they wanted the nail biting. How close is it? It's anybody's game. Anybody could have won this thing. But at the same time, I would like to know a definitive winner without the need of questioning the edit. You know? And not to say that Adam and Steve shouldn't win, or that Devon and Shane got their win stolen from them. I'm not saying that at all. I think either one of these teams could have won it. I just hate that there could be question marks. There could be questions by the fans of like, is that really the case? How did this go? You know? When it came down to it, Adam and Steve were declared the winners. Devon and Shane got second place by a score of 24-23. Frank and Sam was able to finish the last checkpoint in third place, locking in third place, and Nicole and Melissa finished it up last. Melissa and Nicole have to split $5,000. Frank and Sam get to split $10,000. Devon and Shane get to split $35,000, and Adam and Steve get to split $250,000. But wait, TJ says that there is a big twist. TJ asked Adam and Steve to join him, and so they walk through the woods. They each split off from each other, and they go to this like secluded area to make a decision separately on whether they want to split or steal the money. If one of Adam or Steve choose to steal the money, they would go into a last challenge, winner takes all game, on who would win the $250,000, which I think is fun. But it ultimately means nothing because Adam chooses to split the money, and so does Steve. I think this adds into a level of it being anticlimactic. Did I want either person to try to steal the money? No. I think they both deserve the money. But just introducing this twist and kind of putting it out there makes it feel like I would love to see something happen. It didn't happen, you know? It's kind of like just dangling something in front of your face and then not doing it, which granted, it is Adam and Steve's decision, and I'm glad that they split the money. I really enjoyed the final for what it was. This is All-Stars. This is not the flagship show. I thought that realistically, anybody could have won this final. Devon and Shane, I feel like could have won this. I thought the competition level for this final was really, really good and a great way to end the season in a very competitive way. I really wish the last checkpoint wasn't the last checkpoint of the final because I thought it was disappointing, and I think we could have just done away with the steel split twist at the end, as I didn't feel like it added much of anything or much of any stakes to the finale. And I don't think, looking back on it, any of these pairs would have actually stolen the money. People will probably argue that Frank probably would have stole the money from Sam. I actually don't know if I believe that. It is hypothetical anyways. It does not matter. They got third place. At the end of the day, I'm glad that it came down to Adam and Steve and Devon and Shane. And I feel like Adam and Steve definitely deserve this win with how many competitions that they won. Out of 12 episodes, minus 11 and 12 for being the finals, so 10 episodes. Out of 10 episodes, they won 5 eliminations, 2 daily challenges, and got first in episode 1 star challenge. Realistically, that is 8 wins in 10 episodes. That is insanely good. I think that Adam and Steve deserve this win, and they deserve the splitting of the money and how good of a game they played. So congratulations to Adam and Steve being challenge champions. Adam's a 2-time challenge champion now, and Steve, I love that he gets to crown himself as a challenge champion, gets redemption for what happened in All Stars 4. But that is it. That is it for the Challenge All-Stars Rivals, and that is it for the challenge for question mark amount of time. Just don't know. You know, I've heard rumors that the Challenge 41 has wrapped filming, but that's all I've heard. But regardless, I'll be making content over here on YouTube and over on Patreon at patreon.com/angelcakevids over the next few months as we wait patiently for the next challenge season to be announced. But as I said, this is it for the Challenge All-Stars Rivals. What'd you think about this final? Let me know down in the comment section below. What'd you think about all the checkpoints? What'd you think about the finale of this final being the teeter-totter? And do you think both Adam and Steve made the right decision to split the money? What do you think about the season overall? Let me know down in the comment section below. And I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more The Challenge content, like challenge commentary videos, more parts of the CT doc, an extensive The Challenge hookup chart, and much more. I just want to say thank you again so much for joining me on this journey for this Challenge All-Stars Rivals season. I really appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.